Okay, so today we're going to discuss and demonstrate preliminary bending of orthodontic wires. So second order bends, same principle, it's just that now you are going to go outside of the normal plane. So we think about the occlusal plane, right? There's this plane that's created when your teeth come together. A second order bend is going to go outside of that plane. That's what we're going to say, okay? We're either going upward or we're going downward. If you are making a bend that's going towards the gingiva, that's going to be an intrusive bend. If you're making a bend that's going towards the occlusal of the tooth, that's going to be an extruding bend, okay? So those are both second order bends. So we're going to do those next, okay? Same principle, you're going to indicate on the arch wire where you're placing it according to the bracket on your study model or on the teeth. I'm going to put a couple dots there to put a mesial and a distal of where we're going to bend. Except this time we're going to choose either to do an intrusion or an extrusion. So let's say that this is a maxillary arch wire, so let's say we're going to do an intrusive bend and we want to have tooth number 14 have some pressures to place it intrusively. So now we're going to, big difference between the first order and second order, I'm going to have my plier in line with the plane of that arch wire. With first order bends, your plier is always perpendicular to the arch wire. Now in second order bends, because we're doing intrusive and extrusive placement, we're going to have it in line with the arch wire. So again, I'm going to go to that mesial dot. I'm going to place the arch wire, or the plier, sorry, mesial to that dot. And I'm going to make sure it's all within the same plane, and it is. Now I'm going to put the square part of the plier on the top part of that maxillary arch wire because I want it to go intrusively, okay? So I'm going to bend that against the square part, again 45-degree angle, and then I'm going to flip that around, put that square part on the other side so I can finish making that little table leg, right? I'm going to push that back, and I'm just going to keep it on the same side there. I'm just going to move to that next dot, and whoops, I better make sure this is nice and straight so it's all in the same plane, right? And I'm going to push this down. And again, you can use your thumb. The thumb or your first finger, both of those are pretty strong to move it. Keep it really, really close to the wire, to the plier, sorry, when you're actually applying those forces. So you can make a nice tight bend there. And then now I made a little intrusive bend. Okay, so if I were to place that on tooth number 14 like we were talking about, and I'll place it higher so you can see on the gingiva there, it's going to place the forces and put tension to push that towards the gingiva or intrusive. Okay, so now all we're going to do, and I can take this wire and just flip it actually and show you, now we're going to make one that's going to be, put like this. I'm going to make one that's going to actually put extrusive forces on the tooth, so it's going to be going towards the tooth surface, okay, towards the occlusal surface. So same thing, I'm going to make my little dots here to mark. And now we're going to do the opposite of this one. This one was, flip it over. This one was going intrusively. Now this is going to be extrusively, okay? So now this is the maxillary arch wire, right, which it is. Now I want it to go extrusively, so I'm going to put it on the opposite side of the wire here. I'm going to put it mesial to the dot. And again, even with that plane, my plier is all in alignment with that plane of that arch wire, and I'm going to bend down 45 degrees to create that first table leg. I'm going to rotate my plier. Bring it back. And notice now it kind of returns to the overall shape. I'm just going to move my plier down to the next dot. Again, put it all on the same plane, my plier and the arch wire. I'm going to move that to make the second. I'm going to rotate my plier around and finish it up. Well, let me rotate around. Didn't rotate around, did I? And then I went back and created the overall form again of that arch wire. But now this time, see how this one is going intrusively? Now this one's going the opposite way. This one's going to place tension and forces to extrude that tooth, so it's an extrusive bend. Again, both of these are second order bends. Okay. Another type of second order bend that we're going to teach you is a circle stop. So this is considered a second order bend because again it's outside of the plane of the arch wire. So these are kind of fun to make, I think. Let's go ahead and do that on this arch wire that I had before, okay? So again, this is to actually prevent the arch wire from moving mesially. When the teeth start moving, that wire is going to start moving too, right? So you have this little buccal tube where that band is placed. So you want to be able to stop it from moving when all the teeth are moving around and as they have applied tension to them, they're going to move around a little bit. So you want to put a circle stop that's going to lie right next to that buccal tube and prevent that wire from moving around. All the circle stops, when they are placed, should be placed where they're going toward the gingiva. Let's see if I can get that in here and show that to you. So if I'm applying this to this buccal tube right here, I won't put it all the way in there, but if I apply it, it's going to push against that buccal tube, and you can see how that would prevent it from moving. It's a stop. It's a circle stop. There you go. That's how it's got its name. All right, so whenever I'm doing this one, I'm going to measure again exactly where I want that circle stop. So if I want that circle stop right there on that tube, that's where I'm going to put that first mark, okay? So there's my mark. I know I don't want to go mesial to that. I want to keep everything really nice and tight. This is where you're going to use that rounded part of your plier, okay? So in this case, now I'm going to put my plier right at that little dot, and I'm going to grab it. And again, second order bend, so my plier and the plane of the wire are all in the same plane, okay? And I'm basically going to hold really, really tight, good grip on that, my vise, and I'm going to push against the circular part of that plier, okay? So I'm going to run that around that. Then I'm just going to rotate my plier a little bit and keep on wrapping that wire around the circular part of that plier. And you have to kind of rotate a little bit to make sure you have clearance to get that all the way around it. You'll get to play with that in lab. That's the fun part. All right, and see how tiny that is? That's about what it's supposed to be, just a 2 or 3 millimeter little circular stop, okay? So now if I were to lie that against that buccal tube, it's going to prevent that wire from slipping around, okay? And that allows all the bends that are anterior to that buccal tube to really work on and put those forces on the teeth. So that is demonstration of second order bends, the intrusive and the extrusive, and the circle stop.